So, as of the making of this script, 3 of April 2026, Grace has officially stopped development. So, no more updates or extra content, meaning that the April Fool's update, which had the Rod game mode, the entities sundial and Inigo, and skins for the rooms, will be the last thing that we have. Since Simon has made the decision that he will not give ownership to a group of people or someone specific. And I know this sounds surprising and painful to some of us, because it is. But I am not making this video just for the drama and stuff, or to lower the little to none happiness the Grace community already has. I'm making this video as a love letter to Grace and its people. Because you probably don't know, guys, but this game means a lot to me, and I mean it. This game is still my favorite to play, and will be my favorite to play even years later. There's something to this game that a lot of other games don't have. A unique identity, a lovely soundtrack, memorable characters, great gameplay, a variety of game modes to enjoy, replay value, and you get my idea. Grace is very unique, at least for me. So much so that back in 2024, before the test branch update, when the thing was on work in progress, I was going to make my channel about Grace and only Grace. My plan was to make a video about Grace, my opinion, tips, experience, why more people should try it, and more. But a friend of mine told me he wanted to work on the script, which at the end of the day he didn't, and I became too lazy to work on the video too. So I just scrapped it. But just to let you know, I had nearly, and I am not kidding, 300 gigabytes of Grace videos. I swear. But I'm technically doing that video now. But instead of talking about the game like the new best game, the new best thing to ever touch Roblox or something along those lines, I'm talking about it in a way of doing a recap about it. Until this day, from my perspective. Remember the same friend I told you about? Well, he was the one person to introduce me to Grace. At first, we just played the game for the laughs, for the funnies, for the adrenaline factor and other stuff. But Grace made us do something we never thought of doing in our lives. Speedrunning. For us, the thought of doing this was bullshit. I mean, imagine wasting hours of your life just to get a decent time so we can wait to be approved on speedrun.com for us to be like, I don't know, top 80 or something. Like, just imagine doing that, man. And so we started grinding from just like 2 hours for a normal attempt, 12 hours of attempts just to over like 17 seconds, and for last 6 hours of attempts on our last speedrun just to lower the time from 6 minutes 50 seconds to 6 minutes 44 seconds. Yeah, big difference, I know. And I mean, that last one goes like to top 30 or something. I no longer have a photo of that because it was like 2 years ago, so you just have to trust me, please. And after this we were burned out about speedrunning and Grace. So I missed things like Litany, Double, Coco, and so on. So 2025 arrives, and so does the Fruits of March update. And this is like entities like Litany, Doppel, Coco, Doombringer, and Rue are added to the game. Wall kicks are added too, and the removal of the ping pong stage for speedruns turning into a modifier was removed too. And the reason I came back for it like one day was the retro game mode. You know, the game mode, no modifier, that turned Grace into the average Left 4 Dead 2 modded match. Yeah, that one. Well, I played it like 2 hours and deep for like a whole year again. But you may be asking, what about the wall kicks? I mean, it made the speedruns more entertaining and even faster. It sounds like the perfect moment for me and my bro to get back on the speedrun. We tried to understand and do what we were seeing on videos. We just were not built for this bullshit, man. And it's not like the other people were slow with this new tech either. Like, the speed that people were pulling on speedruns would have put Wally West himself on shambles and fear. And from that day, I abandoned Grace. I left it. I mean, sure, I remember everything about it and the good moments we had, but I didn't feel like playing it again. Until the Soul Over Body update came. And I didn't play it for the first 5 days. I am a complete disaster. Dear Lord. But then, on the 1st of March of this year, my good friend Star told me to hop on Grace, alongside another friend of his. And I was like, sure, why not? After all, it was Grace. And things were looking fine and pretty Mains, huh? Sure, why not? Let's take a look at them. After all, I don't think these domains are all that. I was wrong. They were a lot more. Playing at the simple game me and my friend were playing and spending hours to submit runs on speedrun.com in 2024, to now a game with 6 whole game modes, with unique mechanics, more unique soundtrack, newer entities with new mechanics, and more content, and another dozen things I could tell you, but you get my point. And don't even get me started on the remixes and foreigner people were making.
Hey, about the time Keith tried to deep-fry turkey. Third-degree burns over 90% of his body.
Not only about the domains, but about stupid or specific situations. Like, seriously. There are about the Corvettes or just going stupidly fast are things that always make me chuckle. Even if I see them for like the 100th time or something, they hold a little place in my heart. Point is, we were in an all-time high, hopping on the game daily, getting achievements, straight up horsing around, playing the domains, and even having the thoughts of speedrunning again, because our brains finally had the capability to understand the wall kick glitch. And so, March was passing by, everyone was enjoying the domains, I was uploading videos of a game I absolutely love, enjoying the gameplay, suffering in the middle of some achievements, and demolishing duster back and forth on reprieve mode. Dear God, that is enough to make a man cry. It was like heaven on earth, man. A dream with no ending, a roller coaster just going up with no stop. Then, 3 or 4 days prior to April Fool's Day, an event for the next update appears on the Grace page. Grace, Motivo. And not only that, if you were to use some commands before the update, you will find a secret game mode called Rot. And I am pretty sure we all were excited for this. And there was nothing that could mess things up. Remember what I say about this being like heaven on earth, a dream with no ending, and a roller coaster just going up with no stop. It was all a lie. April Fool's Day, man. Well, at this point you should know what's going on. Slurs. It's continuation of Grace. Deb's living. Deb's getting dogs. Death threats. And a final update. Let's be real for a sec. It was obvious that Grace will get a final update either way, sooner or later. But I expected that it will take more years to get to that point. Or that at the very least, it will end on a very positive and good note. But I understand why Simon would take such decision. No game or hobby is worth getting your location, name or something else getting exposed to the public on the internet of all places. So I don't blame him or the devs that abandoned Grace. Am I justifying Simon and fine with this? Well, obviously not. Like saying slurs and stuff like that ain't good, and justifying someone's wrongdoing and saying good neither. But doxing and sending death threats for something that could have been fixed or resolved in a good and civilized manner is just as bad or even worse than whatever it is to say. Because you probably know, guys, but the mom's death or of someone that had nothing to do with all of this got exposed. Like, just in mind that people from the internet knows your mother's name, and the worst part is that you didn't have anything to do with all of this. And here we are now, 4th of April at least, at the time I'm recording this. Everyone in the community having a meltdown. Some people trying to comfort each other, and again with its days content. But even in the fog of chaos, there's still one tiny little glimpse of hope. You see, Simon, after confirming the discontinuation of Grace, said, and I quote from its Discord announcement, Unfortunately for Grace, there are no plans to continue with us involved or under any endorsed by us group of people, but a version of Grace will become open source under some kind of license that will allow use of it. It will also include its news content we never got to finish. As for the Grace team, in terms of game development, we'll continue working on other projects as it's still a passion we are willing to pour our love into. However, this will be completely under a different brand from the partnering view. Hope you understand that we are just tired at this point and don't wanna continue forcing ourselves into a passion project we lost the ability to feel comfort working on anymore due to recent harassment and breaches of privacy. This means that anyone that has the talent, skills, people, or even just the desire can create something like a Grace 2, a prequel, or something that is literally Grace, but for someone different. That being said, please, I really mean it. If there's someone or a group of people willing to take on this massive task of doing Grace in their own way or something, please reach to me. I want to see if I can help on something, because at the end of the day, this game means a lot to me, my friends, and everyone in the community. I would love to be the person to take on that heavy task, but I honestly suck at coding, and you can see my art. I suck at digital art. I try to improve, but I'm still bad. Point being that there's high chances that Grace is not dead, or at least its concept, but rather just changes form. And to be fair, I don't think that a game so great as Grace deserves to end like this. And don't even mention the community, man, the fun art, ideas, passion, love, and everything that people have shown to this game. Hell, even people that in a way were helped reconnecting with God or personal struggles thanks to this game. I believe that we can continue. Maybe this whole situation will be just bad days in the future when we finally got to move on. But as of now, this is all coming from me. I'm going to try and upload more videos about Grace, because at the end of the day, I don't want to give up on what I love. This game is something that I really hold on to my heart, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate. This has been Kenny. God bless you all.